tonight we are. I mean, this is, how do I put it? We on automatic in terms of, the rifling, the weaponry we're using tonight. We're just going all out. And what we're going to do is cover and debunk a number of different myths about Black men. And I wanted to get BGS up in here with me to do it because it's a lot more fun, for one, to bounce off of good brother when we're talking about it. But there's a lot of info to cover. So I wanted to kind of get that in. So let me start with, now this came out a couple of years ago, but I still think it's not necessarily common knowledge. I said, you know what, let me go ahead and talk about it. And when I thought about it, I said, there's a number of things that we need to go ahead and talk about. So if you're not familiar, this is a piece on Yahoo News. New study on drug use confirms what Black people have been saying this whole time. Now, this is dated 2016, right? This is 2016, but I thought it useful to cover. Let me see. Okay, I got to do it. All right, I thought it useful to cover so we can get through some things. So this is just going to be where we start, but we're going to look at a number of different pieces of information that are focused on debunking stereotypes about Black men. All right. So let me get some of this out of the way. Shout out to Real Talk Rodney Dunn. Appreciate the support. All right. So the first one up. All right. So we can read through a little bit of this. A recent study published in the American Journal of Public Health found that delinquent non-Hispanic whites are more likely to abuse hard drugs such as cocaine or opiates more so than their Black counterparts, which might be news for some Americans. But for many Blacks across the nation, the study confirms what was already known. Now, I actually did pull up the study, so I'll show you guys that in a minute as well. But for now, we could just go through the article. The study, which took place over 12 years, found that the rates of hard drug abuse was highest among non-Hispanic whites, followed by Hispanics, then African Americans. Research found that whites were more than 30 times more likely to have cocaine use disorder, 50 times more likely to develop opiate use disorder, and 18 times more likely to have PCP use disorder than Blacks. Now, I don't think that's common knowledge. I don't think people are aware of that. And the article is going to delve into some of that. But just right off, what's your immediate reaction to that?
I mean, it's something I've known since I was first went to my first white school back in, I think, 1968, 69, right? It's always been the case. But things, we were always the face of drugs and hard drugs. But white kids use way more drugs, from children all the way up to adults. Same thing, right? So, but the thing is, they don't often admit it. It's actually a very closely held secret.
Absolutely. I think the article is going to delve into a little bit of that, but not necessarily from the vantage point of somebody who has, who was an adult, especially during the war on drugs era. I was a kid.
Right.
So I saw elements of it. Hell, I was in the middle of elements of it, but as a kid, it was just my reality.
Yeah.
And, seeing it as an adult is a whole different thing. But let's continue here. It says those findings are striking, considering the widely accepted stereotype of African Americans as the most prevalent abusers of hard drugs.
Right.
Linda A. Teplin, professor of psychiatry and behavioral sciences at Northwestern University and author of the study, said in a statement, "Our findings add to the growing debate on how the war on drugs has affected African Americans."
Right.
Researchers studied more than 1,800 delinquent youth and followed their lives through their late 20s. We found that African Americans are less likely than other racial ethnic groups to abuse hard drugs, yet African Americans are disproportionately incarcerated for drug crimes.
Right. We are the most policed. We're actually the most policed.
Indeed.
Okay. Yes.
Indeed. Right. However, some people pointed out that the study's findings were already somewhat acknowledged, especially among Black people. Jonathan Wall, a law student at Harvard University, started a thread full of studies that can easily be confirmed by Black people. And he kind of lists some of the information from the thread. See some of that there.
Yeah, and in the Black neighborhood, we get jails, they get drug clinics.
Absolutely. They get swatted on the hand at best.
Yeah.
Let me go ahead.